Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. Hope you're all doing well. Do let me know if you can hear me and see me. Okay. Who have we got on so far saying hello? We've got David. Hi, David. Nice to have you here. Thanks very much for coming. My old mate Richard from New York is here. Good to see you. Hi, John is here. John says, what does he say? He says, great to be here and not at work. Yeah, you normally at work, aren't you? When I do these live streams, it's hard to get a good time to get everyone in the room at the same time. Not very easy. Hi, Beatle Boy, and we've got the Drag Gurus. Hiya. Stephen G is here. Nice to see you. My mate Nick is here. Hi, nice to see you, matey. And my mate Russ is here. Hi, Russ. Hope you're all doing good. Charles Duncan is here as well. MBT is here. Hello, everyone, and as I say, welcome. So we're going through a bit of a crazy time. There's lots going on. Hi, Bob. Nice to see you. Bob's here. Bob from California. Yeah, we're going through a bit of a crazy time at the moment as far as releases go. They're coming like buses. You don't see one for months, and then they all sort of come at once. We've got, you know, the Beatles US albums coming. We've got the George Harrison Living in the Material World coming as well, getting the box set treatment. And I think it's tomorrow. The John Lennon Mind Games book comes out. That's the sort of standalone book that we've had. You know, we had one for Imagine, we had one for Plastic Ono Band, and the Mind Games one is coming out tomorrow on general release. Of course, if you've got the Cube, then you've got it already. Hi, Anders. Nice to see you. Hello, Andrew. Good to have you on. And hello, John. So, what is everyone thinking about these releases? Because I'm kind of, you know, obviously, I'm pleased to see, you know, any releases, but I'm trying to, I'm putting together. You know, I don't know if it'll be my next video. It might be the one after that. But I'm trying to put a video together, which is basically, you know, why isn't Apple listening to the fans? Because that's what I feel. That's what I feel is happening at the moment as far as Beatles releases goes. You know, you know, I just don't think that they are listening to. You know, it's not just, you know, people on YouTube, and there are plenty of people on YouTube, not just YouTubers, but all you people, all you guys that comment on videos or go on live stream. You know, there's plenty of YouTubers that are saying, you know, what they want, but you know, there's plenty of information for them. There's Facebook groups, you know, that talk about things. I think that, you know, generally the going by the comments on my video about the announcement of the Capitol albums, I would say that fans are not generally, but they're split over this about these Capitol albums. But I would say that, you know, that there seems to be a slight bias towards people that don't want it or not interested in it at all. I need, when I do my video, I'm going to work out what the exact percentage is. But I got hundreds of comments on that particular video, and I'll go through and I'll kind of analyze who's for and who's against and work out what the percentage is. But my general feeling going through those comments and replying to them was that there seemed to be more who were against it than were for it. But you know, there was plenty that were for it and excited about it. So you know, I'm interested to hear, and I just think that, you know, I just don't think that that Apple are listening to the fans, and they seem to be, they seem to have had a complete scattergun approach to releasing things since Let It Be. Really, I think everything. When you start in the middle with Sergeant Pepper, and then you seem to be going, back, forward in time from there. They started with Sergeant Pepper because it was it was an anniversary, and then they did anniversaries, but they missed Magical Mystery Tour, they missed Yellow Submarine, so there just seems to be a big scattergun approach. They went back to Revolver, and then they went to the Red and Blue, and now we've gone to the Capitol album. So that's a video that's going to be coming probably sometime this week. Okay, let me just read some more comments. Russ says overwhelming. Beatle Boy says yes, agree. The fact George and the Beatles releases are so close. I hope Macca gets something out before Christmas. So you want more. Station Minute said it's been a lot, but I could still go for a deluxe edition of the Ringo album. Ringo album seems like a big call from fans. From what I've heard, Ringo is not interested in a deluxe box set for any of his albums. I mean, I think that the Ringo album is the one album that he could do a deluxe box set for. I don't think any of the others stand up to that sort of treatment, but he doesn't seem to be interested. Or has he changed his mind? With the last two releases, we've seen two tracks of outtakes or demos come out from those sessions. We've had John's "I'm the Greatest" on the Mind Games album, and now we're having on the Living in the Material World box set, we're having the Sail Away Raymond either demo or guide vocal. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I guess it's probably it's either an outtake from the studio sessions, or it's a guide vocal done in the studio, because it's got the band and Ringo on it as well. So that's two tracks that are coming out from it. Maybe there's a change of heart there. Right, let me catch up. John says, I like the Capitol mono set tone, getting 7 albums all at once. Yep. Stephen says, the US albums I really can do without, so I'll be passing. And even though George's Living in the Material World is my favorite of his, I would get a double album just for the outtakes. Yep. If it's not a favorite of yours, that's a sensible approach. You get the remix, you get the outtakes, and Bob's Your Aunt is Living Lover. That's all you need. Station Minute says a lot of people against the Capitol box are under the delusion that near mint originals are easy to find and cheap, and that hasn't been true for years. And I'm not sure where you're located, but in the UK, these are really hard to find. You have to dig deep to try and find these US albums, and they're not cheap either. And if you're buying them secondhand, then who knows what condition they're in. I'm all for it. I just think that the whole box set thing, the price differential is mad. Is mad. I can explain it. I can explain it better from the US point of view, because that differential seems to be bigger than anywhere else. But in America, that the six main albums, they're $30 each, so that's like $180. But if you want the box set, so what you're getting extra, remember, there's no book or anything. All you're getting is a slipcase and the Beatles story, double documentary record that you'll probably play once. $120 extra for that. In the UK, it's the differential's not as big because the albums are more expensive. They're more expensive here. They're $33 £32 or £33, I can't remember, which is about $35, $36. So when you get the differential here is about £40 for the double album and the slipcase. But that is absolutely nuts in America. I think they've just got that completely wrong. Matthew says, if this Capital box was a sensible price, i.e. £150 or less, I may go for it. Remember, at one point, Beatles in mono vinyl box set was 225. Was it as cheap as that? We've talked about the Beatles in mono box set. Quite a lot. I've done a video on it. I did, I did have I had the foresight to buy one when it came out. And which was a really odd move for me because I wasn't back into buying vinyl in 2014 when it came out. But I did buy it, and I looked up my thing from Amazon. The email, my order on Amazon, and I think I paid about 330 or something like that, which is an absolute bargain. And if it was 225, then that's even more of a bargain. But for 335 or whatever it was, and they're now going for $2,000, which is just nuts. It's just a real shame. But I'll be talking about the monos in this video about Apple's not listening to us, sort of thing. I'm getting slightly behind now with the messages. Hi Dave, nice to see you. Dave always comments on my videos. Always have trouble logging into these things. If I'm here, this may be a first. Hello. Well, you are here, so hello to you. Elvin Marsh says hello. Hi to you, Elvin. Station Minute says it's been a lot, but I could still go for it. We already had that one. We've had that one. Stephen G says, I think I've skipped back a bit, actually. I have skipped back. Yeah, I'm going here now. Okay, Matthew's archive channel. Hi, Matthew. Oh, we've done that one as well. Okay. Andrew says, Ethel the Frog. I still love the name, Ethel the Frog. I'm definitely more excited about George Harrison release. I'll probably get the US album box after Christmas if the price drops a bit. Yeah, if it does, that seems a sensible thing. Anders says, to Europeans, it's baffling why you want to listen to the butchered US album ever again. Well, the thing is, and I said this on my video about it, the reason that I'm interested, because I haven't got any sentimental attachment to these albums like Americans who were young in the 60s, do. But, for me, it's because I've never had these albums. I've never heard them. I've not heard the Dexter mixes. We all know about the fact that the tracks are all butchered and it's not how the Beatles wanted it and all that sort of thing. But I do think that a lot of people were saying that these albums, and I get the feeling that you feel the same, Anders, that this is probably more. As I say, for American first generation American fans have got a sentimental attachment to these. A lot of people were saying, well, this release is just for the American market, and I actually think the opposite. Yes, Americans that have already got these albums might want to get a shiny brand new copy of these albums, but they, because they grew up with these albums, they've already got them, so they're nothing new for them. So it's just a new copy that really draws them to it, and the sentimentality of remembering how they felt when they first heard those albums. But for the rest, I think this has got appeal for the rest of the world. Not a wholesale appeal, because like I said, plenty of people not interested in the slightest. But I think for us outside the US that haven't had these albums before, then this is a good thing, and for collectors, it's something else to collect. Hi, William. How about new box set of the Beatles EPs on vinyl? Well, you know what? I don't have the box set of EPs, but I have been looking at them, and I've been looking for bargains, and there aren't any. there aren't any, because I think that I don't. The reason why I don't see this as a release is because it's still available. You can go onto Amazon now, and you can go and buy the Beatles EP box set. But they've got it there. There's ones on eBay as well, and they're £200 I think, for the box set. I think there's is there 14 EPs, something like that, and yeah, so I don't see that as a road that Apple would go down, even if they were to listen to the fans, because we can just go and get it if we want it. It's still available. Hi Noah, I can't wait for the price to go down for the Beatles box. Yeah, I mean, it will be good if it does go down, and I'm sure, if you want that Beatles story LP that I bought I bought it in 1976 and didn't even realize that it was an import album. It was just there in the record store that I used to buy my Beatles albums in, or buy any albums in, and I didn't realize that it was an American album, and I bought it really early, and I played it once, maybe twice. If I played it 3 times, I'm probably exaggerating. But if you want it, then the box set is great. If you're not interested in it, then just go and buy the LPs, or the ones that you want. Hi Terry from Derby, welcome, good to see you. I had a good weekend. Well, it was pretty good. It was spoilt a little bit for me by the football, but apart from that, it was good, and thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling really good at the moment, so thanks very much, Terry. Keir from the From Me to You channel. Please check Keir's channel out if you haven't seen it. He's got a great channel, and he talks a lot of sense. And he's very passionate about the music, so do check him out and subscribe to his channel. He says, I imagine it's business people running the show that are looking to make as much money as possible rather than listening to fans. I want a new McCartney album. Well, look, yeah, of course it is. This is what I always say. A lot of people say, oh, I don't like the fact that Paul has released, 10 or however many copies of McCartney 3 as in different color variants. They're blaming him for that, and that is not what he does. He's a musician, right? He writes the songs, he plays the songs, but he has a marketing team, and they do their market research, and their job is to make money, and so they do their research, and they think, I don't know who they're asking. I don't know who they're asking, because they're not asking us. But I don't know who they're asking. But they do their research, and they see that there is a need for coloured variants. People want to buy them. People want to collect them. So they put them out. But it's not Paul. And so yes, you're absolutely right. It is business people that business people run. Are in charge of almost every aspect of releases. I think that there is some artist discretion about what might go on a release, but once an album has been submitted to the label, remember that the artists work for the labels, not the other way around. Once an artist has submitted an album to the label, it belongs to the label, and the label will do what they want, what they think they can make money for. Obviously that makes money for the artist as well, but that is how it works. You're absolutely right. Okay, Elvin says, by theory, is Rubber Soul delayed because all archives will be Tooth's Rubber Soul and Help 60th anniversary? I don't know. I personally hope they will be. I hope they will be. I hope that they will now go, for 2025, we get a double box set, Help and Rubber Soul. I don't mind if they do them separately, but if someone was to ask me what I would prefer, I'd prefer to have them, both at once, and then, we can't really go on anniversaries anymore, so we can't even be sure that it would, be next year, but that would work for the 60th anniversary, but it only works for Rubber Soul and Help. It doesn't work for Hard Day's Night and Beatles for Sale. It doesn't work, for Please Please Me and with the Beatles to tie it into an anniversary, unless we're talking about 2033 and 2034, which I really hope that isn't the case. So I have read, and I don't know if this is true. That Giles Martin wasn't available to the Beatles this year. He was working on other projects or what. I don't know if that is true or not. It could be he just wanted a break. I don't know. But that could be the reason. I mean, as I say, we have got no guarantee that we are getting Rubber Soul next year. No, because it hasn't been officially announced. So we're just assuming that we're getting Rubber Soul next year because it's 60th anniversary, just the same way as we assumed we would get Rubber Soul last year, because we'd heard that a lot of the work had been done at the same time as they did, or a lot of the remix work had been done, when they did the remix for Revolver. Okay, Weak Demand says, I hope we get an expanded Anthology 1, 2, and 3 next year for its 30th anniversary. I don't think that we're going to get something in the audio department. I don't think we're going to get a new album. A remixed or remastered album. Firstly, because the Anthology, apart from Free as a Bird and Real Love, are all the other songs are all outtakes, and generally, they don't do remixes on outtakes. I don't think, but I just don't think that is Apple's strategy now, because first of all, when you go back to each of the box sets that have come out, Pepper, White Album, Abbey Road, Revolver, Let It Be, a lot of, or not a lot, but some of the stuff that was on Anthology has come out on those box sets, and I just generally get the feeling that the Anthology was their first pass at outtakes and demos and stuff. So with that album, we kind of got the best of the outtakes. I think that there's not much that has come out as outtakes since that has been better than what we already had on Anthology 1, 2, and 3. So I don't think that we're going to get. I don't think we're going to get a new album. I might be completely wrong, but I don't see it. But what I do think is that we might get a buffed up, possibly Peter Jacksoned up version of the Blu-rays of the Anthology, or it may go, like a cleaned up version may go to streaming or something like that. Something like that might be on the cards, but I'm not sure about a remixed Anthology 1, 2, and 3 next year. I'm afraid. John said, Tone, I'd love Apple to re-release the Beatles in mono box set. Yeah, everyone wants that. And sorry, going back to Wink's comment, the other thing is that other outtakes are now coming out on these box sets. So I don't see, some people have said that the Anthology 1, 2, and 3 would come out, and then there'd be an Anthology 4 as well, which would have more outtakes. But the outtakes, they seem to be saving these now for these deluxe box sets. So they've taken a different turn with outtakes. So that's another reason why I just don't think we're going to get an album of Anthology. John says he wants a re-release of the Beatles mono box set, and I think for the same reason we might not get that, because I mean we don't know whether this is going to be something that they do going forward. But if you remember with Revolver, they included a mono Revolver in the box set, and I think that that might be their strategy, because they know that there's an appetite for the Beatles in mono, and I just think that if they were thinking about, if it was on their roadmap to release the mono box set, I'm not sure that they would have included a mono Revolver in the Revolver box set. So I think we'll get a mono Rubber Soul in the Rubber Soul box set, and one in Help, etc., and that's how they'll get them out. The problem with that is that it still means that we don't have a second pass on a mono Sgt. Pepper, a mono White Album, a mono Magical Mystery Tour. So that how would they do that? How would they do that? Again, this is something that I'm going to be talking about in my Are Apple Listening to Us video. I don't know if it's going to be called that, but that's my working title. Okay, Russ says, what I mean by overwhelming is no London Town, Back to the Egg yet, Red and Blue and Capital Box. Yeah, I know, but we can't compare those, can we? Can we say that those are reflected? We can't really say the Red and the Blue and the Capital Box is reflected on no London Town and Back to the Egg, because one is the Beatles and one is Paul McCartney. So I'm not sure if we can blame the Beatles for their not. That's what I mean. What I mean, Russ, is I'm not sure we can blame the Beatles for there being no London Town and Back to the Egg. I think the only person that we can blame, well, not the only person, but the only people we can blame is MPL, because there doesn't seem, from what I can gather, since Paul has gone back to Capitol, there doesn't seem to be any appetite to release any more archive editions. Now, as you know, you've probably heard me say this before, but we know that in the Got Back tour program, there was a page about the archive collections, and it told you all about them. And at the bottom it says, watch out for new archive collections coming soon. So that was in the US leg tour program. So that was in 2022. In 2023, it was still there when he went and did South America. He did Brazil, didn't he? And Australia. It was still in that. It was still in that tour program, and that is the one. That is the one shred of evidence that I am clinging on to, that the archive series is still alive. But the longer it goes on, the less faith I've got in this. Now, as you probably know, Paul is coming here in December, and I will be going, and I will be buying a tour program. And the first thing I'm going to do when I get that tour program is see if that archive collection page is still in it. Because what I should have added is when he did Australia, the tour program changed from the tour program that was used on the first leg of the Got Back tour in the US. They added pages. There was a page about Glastonbury and all this sort of stuff, and there was some other stuff as well that had been added. So, my theory was, well, if they can add pages to the tour program, they could take pages out, but they chose not to take out the archive edition page. So that is the one thing that I'm hanging onto. We'll see, Russ. We'll see. Keir says, business people managing these box sets want as many sales as possible. It would be nice if they listen to the fans, but small to no chance, sadly. Yeah, I'm going to be covering that in my video, Keir. But having said that, part of any marketing team's job is to do market research. So they must be asking someone, or what is going to sell, what is going to make them that money. But who are they asking? Who are they asking? Because they're not asking YouTubers or Facebook groups, or things. In other words, they're not asking fans. Basically, fans have got their their own list of things that they want. Like you said, you want a new McCartney album above everything, and that's your choice. But other fans will say other things. I had someone comment on my video, which was about the Living in the Material World album, that just said, I want Rubber Soul and nothing else. And that's what he said. So, everyone has got their own priorities. So who do they listen to? They must do market research and go by a majority, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that. Hi, Alan. Nice to see you. Tone, do you think there'll be any more Beatles or solo releases before Christmas? McCartney did release a singles box with only a month notice a couple of years ago. Yes, he did. And fantastic it was too. I'm still holding out that his album may come out before Christmas. He did it with McCartney 3, didn't he? And that was a big surprise, the release an album. We think that he's recorded the album. We know that he spent he did recording with Andrew Watt as producer many months ago. We know in August he was at Abbey Road for a month, and I don't think he was putting the finishing touches to the Back to the Egg and London Town box. So he was probably working on his on his album. So whether that is ready to go, and it has to be totally ready to go, without him having any involvement left to do, because he's off in a couple of weeks. He's going to Montevideo in Uruguay, and he's going to Argentina and Brazil, and then he's coming back here to the UK. So he's got to have it absolutely nailed down now, if it is to come out this year, because he's going to be out of the country for quite a long time. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'd like to think that there would be one before Christmas, but who knows? People says, "Oh no, I won't be in a rush for the American albums. I'm just thinking there might be a bit of movement from Macca, a new album, because I'm resigning to the thought the archive albums are finished." Yeah, okay. The archives that we don't have, I don't think Paul likes. Well, yeah, but you could say that about, he's released unpopular albums as archives before, hasn't he? Wildlife was not really a popular album. I personally really like it, and I think it really grew in stature after that box set came out. But that wasn't a popular album. You would think, if he's going on ones that he likes, I would have thought that might have been one that he didn't like. Basically, I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised at the delay on these, because I would have thought because Linda has got heavy involvement in these two albums, and plus there is, like, not so much for London Town, but for Back to the Egg, there's so much bonus material potential for that box set. I'm just really surprised that he hasn't gone for it. There's the UK tour recordings, the concert for Campuchia, that could be on there as bonus audio. There's quite a few tracks that were recorded and worked on that didn't make the album. So there's so much, not so much for London Town, but plenty for Back to the Egg. I'm just surprised that he hasn't he hasn't insisted that they come out, because mainly because of that, and because of Linda's involvement and that sort of thing. Okay, John says, Beatley Tone, they're hard to find everywhere. Capture albums, right? Okay. I didn't know they were still hard to find in America, like original one. I suppose anything that's 60 years old, I guess, must be hard to find anywhere, isn't it? They said, "Well, I appreciate the place that the US set holds for those that were around when the band broke. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging, Dave. Your next post is just in. You're leaving me hanging. I can't see the rest of the sentence. I can't see the rest of the sentence. Okay, we'll come back. Maybe it's further down. Wink says, "Do you think the reason why they haven't forgotten Rubber Soul yet? Because we're going to get a whole box set, the UK albums, Please Please Me, through to Rubber Soul." Yes, I do think that is what is going to happen. It's just how it's going to happen. I'm not sure on when it's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure. I think that when Sergeant Pepper came out in 2017, I don't think they had a clue what they were doing. They put that out, and it was a great box set, but I don't think there was any plan to go through the whole catalogue and do similar deluxe box set treatment. That they didn't really know how I can't remember what Pepper was. Was it 4 CDs or 5 CDs or something like that? Blu-ray, big book. They didn't really know how that was going to, whether that was going to sell, whether fans were going to like it, whether they were going to like the fact that the album had been remixed and everything. So they probably didn't have a roadmap for that at that particular time. And then now it's gone on. I think definitely they're definitely going to do the whole lot. I hope so. Anyway. Phil says, "I paid 333 Canadian dollars for the mono set in 2014. That's a bargain in Canadian dollars, isn't it? About two Canadian dollars to the pound or something like that, or close to that. That is a bargain." Steven says, "I take it be their second release of the US albums from 6 on." I don't know. Maybe there will be, but I think that this. What's come out for this time, is specific to 1964 because of the 60th anniversary of the Beatles arriving in the States. I don't think there's any obligation or need to for Beatles 6 or the US Rubber Soul and Revolver and Yesterday and Today and all that sort of stuff. But maybe it won't. They'll come out, but maybe not with such pomp. Maybe they'll just come out as standalone albums, randomly over time or something like that. Maybe not all together. I don't know. We'll have to see. Andrew Mills says, "I agree with John Halsall about re-releasing the Beatles mono set on vinyl. I don't think it will ever happen, though. It's one of my biggest regrets not buying it in the first place." Yeah, as I say, I bought it, and I don't know why. I don't know why I bought it because I weren't buying vinyl. But I'm glad that I did, and obviously, there's lots of people now that want it, and they, obviously regretting. I played the Mono Magical Mystery Tour only this morning from that box set. I don't think they'll bring it out as a box set, but hopefully they will reissue all the albums in mono because if they are going to do the US albums, then they've got to do the UK albums as well. And more importantly, I think, because that is the standard catalogue now. Dave says, "Oh, hang on, we're still getting a cut off. I'm not sure what's happening with Dave's keyboard, but his poster cutting off halfway through." John says, "Tone, the Beatles 1964 mono box is selling like hotcakes. It's wild. It's wildlife. It will reach top 5 on Billboard and UK charts." Well, I hope so. Tone, Capital, Rubber Soul and Revolver is better than UK versions, more tight. Respectfully, John, I will disagree with you. I will disagree with you. You can't knock 3 John Lennon tracks off of Revolver and say it's better. It's not. I mean, Revolver is untouchable in its 14-track state, in my opinion. But you are entitled to your opinion. But with respect, I disagree. David Jackson says, I have most of the US albums already, so I'll buy ones I don't have. Totally sensible, David. Meet the Beatles, Meet the Beatles and Beatles 65. Totally sensible. Ha! Mark is here. Mark is the rhythm guitarist in my band, and he's here and he's in Barcelona. Greetings, Mark. If you're still watching, I hope you're having a good time. I hope it stopped raining there, because it stopped raining here. Hope you're having a good time. I'll see you soon, mate. Well, Thursday, actually. Right. Okay. Tone, are you excited about the 4th anniversary of Give My Regards Broad Street Super Deluxe box set? Just kidding, hopefully. Yeah, I'd still welcome it if there's stuff to it. I don't think, obviously the film is terrible. The film is terrible. I never want to see the film again. But the soundtrack, it's unnecessary. But to listen to it as an album, it's not a terrible listen. It's got No More Lonely Nights on it for a start, which is probably one of his best songs of the 1980s. But if those Beatles songs, the covers of Beatles songs that are on it, like didn't exist, you wouldn't, and you just had Give My Regards to Broad Street, you'd be hearing, and you were hearing those songs for the first time on that album, you think these songs are fantastic. It's only because they're unnecessary covers and lightweight covers of the real thing that you kind of say that. But there's, they're an alternative listen, and that's all right. But I don't think there's going to be a 40th anniversary. Is that's no, when is that? It's another 10 years, isn't it? Another 10 years. No, it's now, isn't it? Isn't it the 40th anniversary now? When it was 1984, wasn't it? 1980, it's now. We're not getting one, are we? Maybe 50th anniversary. Maybe that's what you meant, 50th anniversary, Russ. Right, Stephen G. I said before on one of the videos how great word a full box of mono. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what you. I think you're saying how. I think you're saying how great the mono box is. I'm not sure. That I don't think that came out. Richard said, Tony, you hit square on the head for me. I enjoy the butchered American albums because it's what I grew up with. I didn't really come into the UK albums till the late 70s. Yeah, that is it. Of course, Americans that were first generation fans. That is what they grew up on, and that's how they're used to hearing those albums. And personally, I think it's quite good to have singles on albums. It's good. It's just a different way to hear it. That's it for me. Noah says the thing that I was impressed about that box set is it's going to be all analog. Yes, that is one of the good things about it. Charles says, Tony bought a copy of the Beatles story on vinyl down the market on the Capital Orange label. That's the same as mine, isn't it? The one that I showed in the video, I think. Mine's a Capital Orange label. Mint for £20. I'll tell you about it in the next paragraph. Right, okay. Terry says, I've been listening to my 2004 Capital albums box set of CDs, and those mixes sounded quite good. Now I can see why they were mixed as they were back then, says Terry. And Terry is a British guy, if you don't know. So he's bigging up the American the mixes. Bob says, hi Tone, do you really think that Living in the Material World is really limited to 5,000 copies worldwide? I thought that would have sold out in one alone in the USA. In the USA alone, I wonder if it's a typo and should be 50,000. I don't think it was a typo, because I don't think for a box set, I'm not sure 50,000 is that few to say it's limited to 50,000. I'm not sure I'm not sure how many of these things are sold. I suspect it's more than 50,000, but you know, it seems too. It seems too big a figure. Now, I do know that it has sold out in America, and it has now gone on sale in America. Presumably, they have pinched some unsold copies from other territories, so you can still get it. But it did sell out. America did sell out its allocation. So they're obviously underestimated. But I don't know. I don't know. I always think that if they say it's limited to 5,000 copies, then they've got to stick to that. Because maybe people are buying it only because they're saying it's limited to 5,000 copies, and maybe they're going to keep it sealed and never open it, and blah blah blah. But if they say it's limited to 5,000, then they've kind of got to stick to it. But I'm not sure that they will or do. Hi, Elliot. We truly need a box set of the album Ringo. It's a very important album. It includes all the Beatles. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. As I said before, I just don't think that Ringo is interested in putting that out. But that would be a really interesting album to get a remix of, and hear a shed load of outtakes with all those amazing musicians that appear on that album. I hope it happens. I'm just not sure if it will. Julia, I'm here, Tone. I'm late. You are late. You are late, but welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Alan says, hi, Tone, listened to McCartney 3 recently and think that Egypt Station holds up rather better than his last effort. Any thoughts? Personally, I prefer McCartney 3. I think there's a lot of filler on that, although I do like quite a lot of things they left off of Egypt Station that you kind of get on that Traveller's Edition it's a CD and album where you get like Frank Sinatra's Party and all those. There's a lot of good songs that they left off it. I think I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. They're very different sort of albums. McCartney 3 is quite an experimental album in places, whereas Egypt Station is an album full of proper, fully formed songs. So, maybe I think, I think let me put it this way, right? If I was Kia on the From Me to You channel is doing his best top 20 Paul McCartney songs from the not from the noughties, but from the 21st century, so from 2001 2020, and I think that I would probably have more songs in my top 20 from that period from McCartney 3 than I would from Egypt Station. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a better album, because a lot of an album is to do with the way that it flows and how it sounds as a complete piece of work rather than individual tracks like on a random playlist. It's listening to an album from start to finish with a proper start and a proper end. It doesn't mean just because I pick more tracks from McCartney 3 that I think it's a better album. I'm not really sure. I think when I did my Paul McCartney ranking video, I think I put McCartney 3 above Egypt Station, but I don't think there was much in it. John says, what is Apple's strategy now, 24, 25 and beyond? I don't know. That I'm going to be covering that in a video very soon. I don't know, but they don't give us any privileged information on their roadmap, and I'm not sure if that's well, I know because they're not going to make it public, but is it because they haven't got a clue? They haven't got a clue what's coming next yet. Wink says, do you think Carnival Light will ever finally be released? No, I don't. Because I think the time to release it, if they were going to release it, would have been on the Anthology. And they decided not to. I think George was very adamant that it shouldn't come out. You know, as I've said before, you know, from what I've heard, it is. I think it's one of these things that, you know, it's nearly 14 minutes long. I think by the time you've heard about 3 minutes of it, you've probably had enough and never want to hear it again. But historically, I suppose it's got a place, but I don't think it will. I don't think it will. Stephen says, my dream release would be a box set of all UK albums on different coloured vinyl. I know the Stones did it before, but it is the Beatles we're talking about here. Yes, I think you put a similar comment on one of my videos. Yes, if they did that, I'd be forced to buy them all again on coloured vinyl, because I'm a bit of a sucker for coloured vinyl. You know, it would be a good thing. You know what? I kind of, I don't know if this is just me, right? But I'm quite surprised that there is a blue vinyl Meet the Beatles coming out, because there's just something that's in my brain, and I know whether it's right, I don't know whether it's wrong, but I just think that they're trying to be really authentic. You know, they're putting out the mono Beatles albums. They're going back to the analog tapes for it. They're reproducing all the artwork as it was. They're trying to make it as much like it's 1964 as possible. And then they stick out something on coloured vinyl. And coloured vinyl to me is something of the 70s and the 80s and beyond. That, you know, there wasn't coloured vinyl in the 60s, and I just feel like there's something fundamentally wrong about a Beatles album on coloured vinyl. I don't know if that's true, if that's just me, or, you know, something that's in my brain. But it just doesn't. Coloured vinyl doesn't make it very 1960s for me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, Danny says, the thing that excites me about Anthology is seeing more of the 90s footage that Peter Jackson spoke about. Would be special to see more of Paul, George and Ringo together. Yeah, there's lots of stuff on YouTube of the three of them working together. But yeah, I mean that's the thing about the you know, the Anthology, you know, a re-release of Anthology cleaned up version, you know, that give us the stuff that they left out, you know, all the footage that they left out. That would be fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Charles says, my Beatles story vinyl has a problem. One side okay, but the flip side plays side 4 tone. That can't be right. One hell of a misprint. No, it's not. It's not. That isn't a misprint. Mine does the same. Mine is the same. Now, so in the 60s, I don't know if you've got the concert for Bangladesh on vinyl, but that is exactly the same, except it's, you know, that's a triple album. So you've got side 1, and then on the other side is side 6. And the reason that I did it is because, you know, back in the 60s, when people had those record players that you could stack records on top of each other, and they would drop down, you know, a spindle and play. So you stack your 2 records, so that, you know, the Beatles story, it played side 1 on one record and then side 2 on the other, and then you flip them both over, and then you play 3 and 4, and that's how it worked. So it's not a mispress. That is how it's supposed. It's done for that reason. Winks says, I'm surprised the mono versions aren't on Spotify. Yeah, I suppose so. Although I have to say, digital versions of the monos they're good, but they're not in the same. They're not in the same league as the vinyl. I think that's just my opinion. You know, I'm not. You know, I buy CDs and I buy vinyl, and I've got the mono box set on on CD as well, but I just think they sound so much better on vinyl. But that's just me. And then you know, if you think about, you know, Spotify, you've got extra sort of compression and stuff like that. But you know, I'm surprised they're not. I'm surprised they're not. Dave says, I would be up for Peter Jackson revamp of Anthology series and the original Let It Be, please. So Let It Be, the original Let It Be is, you know, is on I mean, you can you know you can stream it, David. Dave, you know that you can stream it on Disney Plus. Let It Be, but there's no physical media of the cleaned up version yet. Yeah. So Beatle Boys just explained what I've just said. Keir says, of all the box sets to come, I wish for London Town, Back to the Egg. There doesn't seem any space in the calendar for these releases, though. It seems jam packed. Yeah, for this year, yeah. But you know, why not? Why not? Dave said, "Let It Be on Blu-ray." He meant, yeah. I got it. Get it? Yeah. It hopefully, you know, it's funny actually because you know when Get Back came out, the Blu-ray followed about 3 months after it started streaming. I think we're kind of at that point now, aren't we? So maybe there'll be something. Maybe there'll be something before Christmas on Let It Be physical media, or whether they'll just let it run on streaming for a bit longer. But you know, it's got to be a physical release surely at some point for that. Terry says, what I'd like to see is the Disney Plus screen Let It Be. Oh, you're saying the same thing. Wink is saying the same thing. Station Minute said the US tour book also had a mysterious promo ad for what turned out to be the singles box. I think the phrase about uncut minute archives release was just an editor oversight. Yeah, maybe it was. That is all I'm hanging on to. But if it was an oversight, and so if the US tour book, the US tour book had an advert, did it for the singles box, and that is quite surprising because that's, I mean, the US tour went to about, it finished around early June, was it, in 2022? Now that singles box wasn't announced until December 2022, if I remember rightly. If I'm remembering rightly, aren't I? Yes, it did. It came out in 2022. So I'm surprised that would have been in there because, you know, when it was announced, it was a complete surprise. So if it'd been in the tour book 6 months earlier, that does surprise me, to be honest. If someone else can confirm that, I don't know. I know there was something when I was saying that there were extra pages in the tour book for the Australian leg. The singles box was one of the things that was in there, but I didn't think. I'm surprised that it was in the US tour book. But anyway, yeah, Apple definitely not asking the right audience. Yes. Matthew is here from Victoria, Australia. Hi, Matthew. Richard says, does Living in the Material World 2x CD have Sunshine Life for me? Well, that is a good question. It definitely does in the deluxe box set, because you know the deluxe box set has the 2 CD inside it. But on the website, it doesn't include it. And it doesn't say anywhere that it is on CD that track is exclusive to the to the deluxe box set. So I'm just wondering whether that is just an error on the website, and Sunshine Life for me is included on the 2 CD box set and they've just made a mistake on the website, because they're very precise. They're very precise on the information about the box set, because where it lists it says LP2 / CD2. Okay, and then it lists all the outtakes, and when it gets to Sunshine Live for Me, it says in brackets CD only. That is so they're saying that it's on the CD, but it's not on LP2, because for the deluxe box set, it's on that 7-inch single that comes in there. So that's the vinyl version of Sunshine Live for Me. But I'd be amazed if they took one track off for the CD box set. That would be ridiculous, especially as it's not at capacity. So I'd be really surprised. So I'm going on it's a mistake on the box set, and that's on the website, and hopefully when everyone gets their 2 CD pack, it is there. I guess you'll have to tell me, those of you that are getting the 2 CD pack, you'll have to tell me when yours arrives, because I'm getting the deluxe, so it will definitely be on mine. But whether it's on the standalone CD, we'll have to see. Okay, David said, let's hope there isn't a new colour version of McCartney 3 just before Christmas. Yes, that is a hope. I don't think there will be. I think we're okay. I think we're safe that we are McCartney 3 done, but you never know. Matthew says, I'm planning on buying the US vinyl individually. Yes, same here. Harry's here. Harry says, if these chumps can put out London Town Back to the Egg archive sets, that completes the 70s and unleash so many more opportunities. Egypt, for example, box set of 1970s archives edition on Blu-ray high res. Yeah, they just need to get them out. They just need to get them out. Not so much because everyone wants to hear them. It's more to stop people just saying, I want Back to the Egg in London Town, because it's been going on for so many years now that people have been expecting it, and I hope we haven't got a similar drama with Rubber Soul. But yeah, I mean, once it's out, no one will have anything to talk about. Well, when Back to the Egg and London Town and Rubber Soul come out as a box set, no one's gonna have anything to talk about. Just joking. We'll find things, won't we? We'll find things. Julius says, I'm convinced more Macca archive boxes will happen. Oh, you're so optimistic. Especially because John and George's boxes are becoming more active. Well, that is that's a good theory. That's a good theory. Bit of a keeping up with the Joneses, or keeping up with the Lennons and the Harrisons. Yeah, that could be a reason. But it's funny, isn't it, that since he went to Capitol, that's when it stopped. That's when it stopped. Maybe it's Capitol that are driving this, that it's the end of the road for the archive series. I don't know. I know that Flaming Pie, which was the last one, didn't sell that well, which is surprising because it's a bloody good box set. And it says, big Beatle week for me. I'm seeing Ringo at Radio City Music Hall. You will see Andy Nichols from Two Legs there. I hope you can catch up with him. He's going to be there and seeing One Hand Clapping on Saturday. And I think I know he's going on. I think he might be going on Saturday as well, actually. I think he's going on Thursday. Yes, it is, for everyone who's going to see One Hand Clapping, that happens this week, doesn't it? Cinemas all over the world. Unfortunately, I can't go because I'm isolating, so I can't go. But I can't be in a cinema with there's lots of people at the moment. But for those of you that are going, have a fantastic time. And if you're going to see Ringo this coming week, have an absolute blast. Andy wasn't going to go, but he's going because he thinks that Paul might show, and if Paul does show and he's not there, he's going to kill himself. So he's going. He's going. So anyway, have a fantastic time at Ringo, and one hand clapping Elliot and everyone else that is going. Richard said, "Will the Capitol albums have flipbacks on the covers?" Yes, I think they say they are repeating the exact artwork, so I would assume so. Harry says, "I demand a Wings Greatest Hits edition remixed with full-length version, additional tracks, double LP, and the later hits, full 70s on several coloured vinyl." Yes, we. This is the thing. Have we become the most entitled fans that we are now demanding? We're getting when we get really angry when we don't get what we want. We've now got to a stage where we're expecting these things, and are we starting to sound like we're entitled, little brats? I don't know, but we want everything. Andrew says, "I think George Cameron hit on a formula that can be repeated for all the remaining albums." Yes, I do. I really like the fact that that vinyl and CDs are included in the deluxe box with the book and all the rest of it. I like that, and I'm sure that everyone who buys vinyl and CDs will be happy about that. I think not a lot of people, but a few people. We are Beatles fans, and if we can't find something to moan about, then we've got nothing to say, have we? And quite a few people have said only one disc of outtakes with Living in the Material World. They could have done a little bit more. And it's not like All Things Must Pass. Well, firstly, All Things Must Pass. Let's call it a double album because you're not going to get any outtakes from the Apple Jam. So it's a double album. But not only that, not only that, but this is that time of recording All Things Must Pass. This is George unloading all his songs that he's written, that he's taken to the studio and said, "What about this, fellas?" And they said, "No, let's do Maxwell's Silver Hammer instead." So he's got all these songs. So not only have we got demos from I think there's 19 proper tracks on the album. We got demos from 19, demos for almost 19 tracks. We've got outtakes for 19 tracks, sometimes even more than one, and plus we've got all these other songs that he had that were, not only rejected by the Beatles, but also rejected by Phil Spector for All Things Must Pass. All these other songs that he had written that didn't make the album. So that is why there's so many outtakes on All Things Must Pass. And I think that, I don't know how many songs George had around 1973 that that he didn't use on the album, but I would guess the fact that he re-recorded a song from 1971, "Try Some Buy Some," added a new vocal to an existing backing track for that album to make up the numbers. That would say to me, well, he didn't have that many songs. So maybe that's the reason. And yeah, we know that. We can tell on the outtakes, the take numbers, who can see it, 93 takes. Well, no one wants to hear, no one wants to hear 90 odd takes of the same song going wrong. But, obviously there will have been more outtakes they could have put on. But, we have to assume that they have given us the best outtake for each song, which is what I think that they did for Anthology, Beatles Anthology. I think they gave us the best take outtake. And if they're going to give us, what do we want? Do we want quality or do we want quantity? And remember, with quantity comes extra money. So is it better to have lots of stuff that isn't as good, or is it better to have the very best outtake? I don't know. You tell me. Hi James. James says, I've said this before, Paul might be the only major artist whose catalogue isn't readily available physically anymore. 1993 remasters sound flat. Yeah, there are a number of albums that are difficult to get. But when we say whose catalogue isn't ready available physically, do we mean it's not available at all, or are we talking about vinyl? Because I'm pretty sure you can still go and get Off the Ground on CD, Driving Rain on CD. These albums that are difficult to find on vinyl, but they're still quite easy to get on CD. I think that's what you're saying. Right. John says Beatley Capital will finish the rest of the Capital releases after the 1964 package. Right. Okay. So if anyone wants to know anything, can you just go and ask John? Because John knows that they're going to finish the rest of the Capital releases after the 1964 package. So thanks for that, John. We'll look forward to those. Frank says they need to come up with a proper Butcher's album box set. Okay, right. Okay, James says the archive collection continue in a simpler form as a 2 or 3 CD edition rather than nothing happening at all. Yeah, it could. But I don't know. I don't know what everyone's sort of priority. I mean, normally I would. It would be the music above everything for me, and so I would want all the songs, to come out. All Paul has never really been He's never really been one for outtakes so much. We've had a few, but he's been quite he's been quite stingy. I think he's been fairly stingy throughout this archive series. There's some archives that where the extra material has been plentiful, like Flowers in the Dirt and Flaming Pie and Retro Speedway, stuff like that. But generally, we haven't had a lot. What I've really loved about the archive series is the whole book and the artifacts, and just this real deep dive into a McCartney album. And while the 2 or 3 CD edition would cover my musical needs, I'd still feel a little bit cheated if we didn't get this series finished properly. I mean, I don't understand why. I don't honestly. I don't understand the reason why MPL can't finish a series. They didn't finish the coloured vinyl series either, and that's really annoying. But not as annoying as not finishing the archive series. But if it goes to a 2 or 3 CD edition, so be it. If we get all the stuff, but as I say, I like the books, I like the bonus audio, I like the bonus video stuff as well. Okay, Bill says I still think an American singles box would have been better choice here in the UK. We have had the singles box set in 76, 82, 2019. Was UK singles too, but a US one would be great. Okay, yeah, there's a few different singles, but mostly it would be the same, wouldn't it? There'd be a few different singles, things like Long and Winding Road and Yesterday and stuff. But yeah, okay. Steve Bailey says, for those that don't know, HMV will be releasing the Meet the Beatles on blue vinyl. Yes, they will. Thanks for that, Steve. They are, but it is £40 if you want it. So I'm giving that the swerve. I'm just having the black one, much as I like coloured vinyl. So £40 is a bit of a liberty. But someone told me, and I checked it out, and it's true that they had a big discount on the box set. They had the box set below the normal asking price. Whether they still have, I'm sure it was an error on their website, but maybe if you need the box set, check out HMV, see if they still got it cheap. What's your band called? Tone, do you play across the UK? Right, so we're called Strongbox, and we don't play across the UK. We very rarely venture out of Essex unless we're asked to. But we mostly play in pubs in the Essex area, which is it's a big area. It's a big area, but we don't normally come out of town unless it's we get asked to do like a private function, like a birthday or wedding or something like that. Right. Matthew says he likes the Broad Street film. Okay, fair enough. Matthew says, I agree with Tone regarding the rest of the world version of Revolver being untouchable. And Matthew also says that he likes Broad Street film. Charles says, Tone, I like Capital Rubber Soul because of the false start, and I'm looking through you. Okay. Matthew says, No More Lonely Nights entered the charts this month 40 years ago. Okay. What a song. Mystery Train Radio says, all the best, Tone. Super excited about George's upcoming release. Yes, I am too. I'm too. John says, Tone, you're looking great, Superstar. Thank you very much, John. I'm feeling really good. Thank you, John. Terry says, talking of Broad Street, I do love No More Lonely Nights. Such a great guitar solo from Dave Gilmour. One of Paul's better singles from the 80s for me. Yeah, probably. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between that and My Brave Face for me. But yeah, it is probably his best song from the best single from the 80s anyway. Russ said, oh, yes, it did. He's talking to Matthew. Okay. David says his Beatles Story album's on the Apple label. I bought it in the 70s too. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's interesting that it's not on a Capitol label. But yeah, good stuff. Andrew says, I just checked eBay prices for the Beatles mono collection, second hand from 1,300, but you can get a new sealed copy on CD for £67 from the Philippines. Yeah, that will be a fake mono box. There are I did a video on this which you can check out on the channel. There are a lot of fake Beatles in mono CD box sets on the market, and they basically they all emanate from the Far East, China, Japan, Philippines, where look, if it says it's 67 quid, it's not the real thing. You should be paying second hand over £100 for that, and brand new probably about maybe 200, 250. I think it's still available on. You go on Amazon and see what it costs. I think that it's still there. It's still available to buy. So don't touch that one, Andrew. Baron Saturday says only 2 CDs for Living the Material World box set. Early demos don't exist in the archives. I think that some of them are early demos. That some of the tracks on there are marked up as being acoustic versions. So I'm presuming that they're acoustic demos. But yeah, I've kind of just covered this. That perhaps they've given us the best of the outtakes rather than giving us a load of stuff that's not as good. As I say, it's always a question of quality versus quantity, and if you want quantity, then as far as outtakes go, let's think about what our outtakes are. They are versions of songs that went wrong. They're not quite as good as the release version. That is why they are outtakes. So they're inferior to what you've got. Sometimes an outtake is better than a released version, but I would say that is rare. So maybe they've given us the best of the outtakes rather than a load of them. Station Minute says he thinks they'll make more living in the material world if it sells out. There's a difference between limited and strictly limited. Yeah, maybe. Stephen says, watching and listening from St. Louis, Missouri in the US. Hi, Stephen. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Matthew says, I'm looking forward to George's Living in the Material World Super Deluxe and Purple Vinyl versions I bought from the UK because allocation was sold out and it was cheaper. Yeah, so Matthew's you're from Australia, and quite a few of my Australian viewers tend to buy from the UK because the shipping is cheaper. Elliot says Living in the Material World is still available on Amazon. Is that the UK or US? Nick says he likes McCartney 3 better than Egypt Station by a long way. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a long way for me, but it edges it. It edges it for me, definitely. Russ is talking. He's talking in a foreign language to me. What is this? Who are the Cowboys? What is that? For non-American, that's a very long kick of an American. Okay. Oh, American football. Ah, right. Okay. I knew what it was, really. I did know what it was for. I'll even say that I think that their proper name is the Dallas Cowboys. Am I right? Right. Julia loves Egypt Station. Not a big fan of McCartney 3. Bryce says, do you know if the early demos of Living Material World exist in the archives of third CD? Demos would have been great. I have no idea what exists, or what one of the things that I thought about was because most of that album was recorded at Friar Park on George's home studio. I'm wondering whether because he wasn't using the tape that belonged to the huge conglomerate, recording studio. Maybe he did a take. If it didn't work, he rewound the tape and recorded over it. And I don't know how. So no idea how many outtakes or demos exist on this. Only the Harrison camp would know that, I guess. John's back. And it says Carnival Lights should be released as a Blu-ray with an animated visual as it's playing. Okay. I bet you don't make it till the end of it, though, Elliot, if it ever does come out. Nick says, it's always been strange to me that George blocked Carnival of Light but made an album called Electronic Sound. Well, yeah, but maybe his thoughts are, in 1968, when what was he, 25 in 1968? Maybe that opinion changed when he was in his 50s. When they were doing, Anthology. Maybe he just grew up a little bit. I don't know, or didn't have the tolerance for that sort of thing, or it could be something. This is a 14-minute track that takes up a big chunk on Anthology 2, doesn't it? And I think maybe there was, maybe he turned it down because he wanted to make sure that Not Guilty got onto Anthology 3. I don't know. Matthew says it will never be released. Carnival of Light. Julia says, Tone, remember last year I predicted McCartney 2024 was going to be big? Yes, I do. I 100% remember it. It was minus archive. So for 2025, new live album and 2 archive boxes, Beatles, Rubber Soul, and Something Unexpected. Okay. That is noted, and we'll see if you're right. I'm out of those things. I'm thinking new live album is probably the least likely. But you never know. He hasn't put out a live album for since 2010, I think. Good Evening New York, 2009, I think. So yeah, maybe you're right. We'll have to wait and see. Well, it's going to be exciting. John says, Tone, make the Beatles 1964. Mono is on a different color. Blue vinyl sounds real nice. Okay. Have you heard it? Have you heard it? On Record Store Day in April. What is that about? Have I missed something? Have I missed something? Tell me what's happening on Record Store Day, Julia. Got Original Hard Day's Night from Japan on red vinyl, but I get your thinking. Okay. Yeah, it's all that Beatles on coloured vinyl. It just seems weird. Just seems weird to me. I think it's just me. I think Anthology will be re-released in 2025 with Free as a Bird remixed and Real Love remixed by Machine Learning. Okay. Okay. Well, maybe it will, but I can't. I'm not sure. I think well, that would be really good, because obviously if they I can't see them remixing the whole thing 1, 2, 3 all the way through, 2 CDs and 3 LPs worth for each of them. But if they've remastered the film and spruced it up and made it all shiny and it comes out, and then they re-release the original 3 albums to accompany the release of the buffed up film with those 2 tracks remixed on those albums. It'll be great, but it would mean having to buy those 3 albums again just to get the remixed Free as a Bird and Real Love. Is everyone up for that? I don't think they are. But that would be a way of making people buy something they already own again. But it wouldn't be a good thing, I don't think. If they're going to do a remix of those 2 songs, then put it out as a single. If that's all they're going to do with Anthology, is remix those 2 tracks and put them out single. Carl Han, hi Carl. I don't get the point of recreating how it was first listened to. I love history, but as a consumer, I want something best as possible to listen to. Okay, yeah, no, I understand that. I understand everyone's point of view on these Capitol albums, and I think I think that they have said in their blurb for this that these should sound better than they did in the 60s, but I think they're not going to sound like how people heard them in the 60s, because no one's listening to them in proper mono anyway, because no one's got a mono record player, have they? Everyone's listening to this stuff on sophisticated stereo gear with 2 speakers, and it's mono anyway, because you've just got the same thing coming out of both speakers. So I'm not so I think they will sound as good as possible. So that is a tick for you. But I think from the look of them, they're trying to recreate, what they looked at. But I would wager that they probably sound better than they've ever sounded before. We'll see. We'll see. Dave says Carnival Light could be added as a hidden track on something low key, but we get to hear it. Yeah, could do. It could do. Simon says I don't get the coloured vinyl on Meet the Beatles either. So released. Sorry, on so that's covering end of Carnival Light released on SDE, covering end of Pepper Sessions 268 as they left for India, including Magical Mystery Tour. Yeah, okay, but they've kind of done that though, haven't they? They've done that Pepper box, but what we haven't got is. So I think that Carnival of Light actually predates Pepper. I think it's from early 1967. But there is still a gap with Magical Mystery Tour. It could happen, but I'm interested to know why people are so into Carnival Light, because from what I've read about it, it's just going to be terrible. It's just like sounds and silliness and nonsense. But we'll see. Maybe we'll see. John says I'm definitely a sucker for colours vinyl. Yeah, you and me both. Tone 101 on board. You're a superstar. That was some time ago. 85 now, which is still great. Terry says, Tony, looking so well. Stupid question. But why the wish of so many for mono Beatles releases? Apple future strategy will be to release solo stereo albums in mono. Look, I totally agree. And I kind of just touched on that a minute ago. Right. So there are two aspects, I think, to the mono albums. The historical thing. And there's also this problem where, when they did the stereo. I mean, look, I was brought up on the stereo Beatles. There was no, I bought my albums in the mid '70s for the first time, and there was, they were all stereo albums, and they all had this panning, where you've got the vocals on one speaker and the music in the other, and it didn't bother me in the slightest. I was discovering the Beatles, and it was like the most fantastic thing I'd ever heard. It's only now that I've become more, fussy about what things sound like, and sort of improved my hi-fi and all that sort of thing, that I'm worried about it. So, I did just touch on it that, people do want the mono, but you're not hearing it in proper mono. Because you're listening to it through, you've got a stereo cartridge on your record deck, and you've got and it's playing through a hi-fi stereo system, so you're not hearing it like it was the '60s. But the problem is with the stereos is not only just the panning, but also they were done so hurriedly that lots of mistakes were made. You've probably heard them, things like, in If I Fell, when Paul's voice cracks on the stereo, If I Fell, but if you listen to the mono Hard Day's Night, it doesn't. So there's different mixes, different takes were used for between the stereo and the mono, and the mono are the ones that the Beatles approved. So that is kind of why people are hankering after mono. But I totally agree. Why we should still be listening in mono in 2024 is beyond me. And I totally take your point about should they be releasing solo albums in mono. Obviously no. But that That's the reason, because the monos have not got all those errors. You know, there's errors, there's bits of back guitar missed off the the stereo revolver that was released back in the day, that was on, supposed to be on it, and it's on the mono. So the mono has got all the things. It's also got a few things missing, like the mono, Helter Skelter doesn't have. I've got blisters on my fingers, and I've never understood that decision. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? I don't know. But anyway, that I think that is the reason, that the monos are the standard. But if you give me a good stereo remix of a Beatles album, I will listen to it before I listen to that album in mono, for sure. Charles says, Tone also bought today Beatles bootleg vinyl. I wish I hadn't. The hole in the center isn't in the middle, and the vinyl is all over the place. Oh no, disaster! Can you take it back? Hope you can. Hope you can take it back. Sorry about that, Charles. Nick says, I want Press to Play box more than London Town or Egg. I know Press to Play would be a fantastic box as well. I want all three. I want all three of those before Off the Ground. I'm not. Off the Ground is the one that I'm the least bothered about. But yeah, take your point, Nick. I think Press to Play is a much better album than it's ever given credit for, and there's good outtakes as well for that album. It says Beatle rated films to look forward to. One hand clapping from Paul. Daytime Revolution from John. 1-1 from John. And Brian Epstein movie. Yeah, absolutely, Elliot. And I think I saw this week that the Daytime Revolution, which is being released. Well, it's been released in America, in American theaters on the 9th of October, is going straight to Blu-ray that day, I think, but only in America. We still don't know what the plan is for the rest of the world. But I think in America, so you'll be able to get a physical copy of Daytime Revolution pretty much before you finished your popcorn watching the film at the cinema. Charles says, thanks for telling me about the Beatles story vinyl. Explain. It's been no problem at all. Elliot says, singles box is my favorite. It's just absolutely, it's just a thing of beauty. It is a thing of beauty. I'm so glad that I managed to get one. Yeah, great. Wouldn't sell it for the world. Terry says, I'd love to see London Town back to the Egg archive editions, but I would love a repressing of Off the Ground, as I'm struggling to get a copy of that at a reasonable price. Yes, it is expensive to buy on vinyl. And obviously an archive edition would resolve that for you. As I've just said, Off the Ground is the one that I want the least out of the ones that are left. If you don't count Broad Street, I suppose. Yeah, I'd personally, London Town, Back to the Egg, and Press to Play would be the ones that I'd want more. But yeah, I take your point. I hope you manage to find one, because I don't know whether it's going to get another vinyl release. I hope you managed to find one at a decent price. I know I paid a fortune for mine. Ralph says, "Oh, what are your top 5 non-Beatles?" Oh, blimey. Right, I don't know. I've got so many, so much music by other artists. Right, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna rank these. This is difficult. This is really difficult. But I'd say the Jam were one of them. Would probably be top 5 for me. The Who, I think, a top 5. Really difficult. Thin Lizzy, one of my favorite bands. Elton John, I really like. Oh God, I can't. I'm struggling to think of bands that I love now. Who else? I love Paul Weller's solo stuff. I'll come back to you on that. Maybe that's an idea for a video, but I need to think of it, think about it. But it's difficult for me to put a top 5. I've got, I've got loads of albums, probably 2,000 or 3,000 CDs and records of other.
Bowie and Bush.
Oh yeah, Bush. Kate Bush, Mrs. Beatley Tone, David Bowie. Obviously, you can't think of them. You can't think of them. But she's thinking alphabetically, and she's going, David Bowie and Kate Bush. We'll say those for the start. One of my other favourite artists that I've spoken about before, Narina Palo, who I absolutely love, that no one's ever heard of, and I call her. I say that she is pop's best kept secret, but I have spoken to her about her on the channel before. But I love her music, and also there's a American band that don't exist anymore called Fountains of Wayne that have made maybe 5 or 6 albums. Absolutely love everything that they've ever done as well. So yeah, there's a lot.
Thousands of comments still below.
Oh, okay. Let's do single box of George and John's singles. I don't think I like. Well, yeah, maybe. There's not that many though, is there? There's not that many of John's, for sure. Phil says, I heard Macabox set reissues were put on hold after Flaming Pie Super Duper box failed to sell well. They're still available. Yeah, they are. But the other box sold okay. The big one had all the prints in it, didn't it? And that's the one that didn't sell very well and still available. But the one that I bought, which was the one down from that, it had all the artifacts apart from those prints, but it had all the music. That's the one that I've got. Right. Okay. Station Minute says the promo ad for the singles box in the tour book was very subtle. It's a full page picture of a blank single with the text coming up with the word up, looking like a stencil on the crate. I see. So it was a kind of a mystery thing that maybe no one got at the time. Got ya. David says, I think it's cash grab light. I don't know what you mean, but remember, there's no such thing as a cash grab. Just stuff for sale. Elliot says, I heard a Great Wings cover of Time to Hide on Capitol recording artist Ruby Starr. Definitely worth checking out. Okay, noted. Matthew says, I still think London Town will be released in 2018 and Back to the Egg in 2019 as a combined 50th anniversary of archive collection release. I think we might have missed that then. You don't mean that, do you? You don't mean 2018 and 2019, do you? Dave says, I'm sure years ago they said London Town was completed. Yes, there's an interview that he did in 2019 where he was whoever was interviewing him was at Abbey Road when he was doing the remastering of, I don't know about London Town, but he was definitely doing the remastering of Back to the Egg, because he's made specific reference to Arrow Through Me, and said that he'd forgotten about that track completely, and it's a real funky track. So that was 2019 that interview took place in. And what you're saying here, thing about Rockestra, it was delaying Back to the Egg. I don't understand why that is, because Back to the Egg has been, surely the permissions for all the artists in the Rockestra was got at the time when the album came out. It's been reissued a number of times since then on CD. So I don't really understand why there are legal issues with the Rockestra people and their record labels and all this. That doesn't make sense to me, to be honest. I'm not sure that is the reason for the delay. And if that is the reason for the delay, why no London Town? Put it that way. David says Rubber Soul is 2 years late. Well, it's not really, because we've never. It's only late if we've been told we're getting it and it doesn't happen. We were never told that Rubber Soul was going to be the next one, were we? I don't think we were, and that's half the problem. We've assumed that ourselves in our very entitled way. We've assumed that Rubber Soul would be the next one, and it just hasn't happened. So it's not really late. It's just it's 2 years at the moment since we thought we would get it. But it could be even longer. We don't know what we're going to get next year. So we don't. There's no guarantee that we're getting it next year, is there? That's what I mean. We've never. It's not officially late, but it's just late as far as our expectations go. Nick says, I'm seeing one hand clapping here in Kansas City on Thursday. Have a great time. Nick, will I be the only person in the cinema? Well, that remains to be seen, but I'm sure you will tell me about that when you get home on Thursday. Okay, but have a great time anyway. At least there won't be much of a queue for the popcorn, eh? Matthew's seeing one hand clapping on Thursday. Have a great time, Matthew. Hope you enjoy it. Warris is Danny. I think they should get AI or Giles Martin to generate a new Beatles album from solo LPs, or maybe even 6 new Beatles LPs like Love. Okay. I think that there would be too much legal business to try and put out an album with solo material from each of the solo Beatles on the same LP. But something like Love 2 would be fantastic, as the first one was brilliant. I did message you about Paul says, I did message you about USA releases and wondered what the point of getting them was. You named a couple of songs that sounded different. Will you let us know the differences? Yes, of course I will. Of course I will. Obviously, once I get it, I'll do a full review of all these albums, and I'm excited to do that because these albums are new to me. So I will definitely be doing that. Russ says, I will be 1 foot stomping at one hand clapping this Saturday. Have a fantastic time, Russ. Hope you enjoy it. Anna says, I'm hoping for Press to Play Deluxe box set after London Town, Back to the Egg. Off the Ground, not so much. You're the same as me in that. I know people like it, but I never really did. Yeah, I think it's not an unlikable album, but it's just not. It's got some songs that I really like. I mean, one track that I really love on that album that a lot of people hate is Biker Like an Icon. I love it, but Off the Ground is quite average. And a lot of people, I saw in the comments for my B-sides video, and also Andy and Tom on Two Legs, when they did their B-side video, there was quite a lot of love for the B-sides of the CD singles that were on Off the Ground. In the comments for those, and I when I did my chart, I kind of listened to them, and none of them really blew me away. I always thought I really liked all those sort of B-sides were on those CD singles of like Hope and Deliverance and Come On People and all that sort of stuff. But I thought it was fairly average, to be honest. And it says Cloud9 by George Harrison is being released this Friday. Yeah, I know. There's a black hype sticker on the record with a Dark Horse logo and information. Okay, yeah. What do we know? What is the release though? They're just releasing it with a Dark Horse label? There's no difference in the music, presumably. This is presumably the 2017 remastered version of Cloud9, but it's obviously going to be on the Dark Horse label because they, BMG have taken over from Warner Brothers. If anyone knows if that is the case, let me know. How we doing? We've nearly been on 2 hours, so we're going to wrap it up fairly soon. Where'd you get your sweatshop shirt from? Like it? Well, this is from it's from Paul's website. This is a one-hand clapping sweatshirt. It's a bit too big for me, to be honest. I've lost a bit of weight since I bought it. But yeah, it's just, you can just get them on Paul McCartney's website, paulmccartney.com, if they're still in stock, I suppose. Just released some coloured digital UK vinyl albums. Okay. That's what David wants. Matthew says, London Town, Back to the Egg, Broad Street, Press to Play, Fireman albums, classical album, Memory Was Full, aren't ready available on any format, any physical format. I think Twin Freaks you're going to say as well. I'm sure they're available. They're not even available on CD. Really? Okay, I believe you. So you prefer to have musical extras in Back to the Egg box rather than actual eggs? No, I want eggs as well. I want eggs as well. I want one of those Back to the Egg key rings that they gave out as promotional things at the time of the when the album came out in 1979. That was, for me, that was a nailed on artifact that would be included in the Back to the Egg box set that we haven't had yet. All the Capitol album vinyls are £40 at HMV, £8 more than everywhere else. Why? Don't know. Ask them, Charles. I don't know why they are, but I didn't. When someone said that, they're doing a blue vinyl Meet the Beatles, I said it's 40. Yeah, I looked at it and it was 40 quid, and I said that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So I'm not paying it. So I don't know why, but I'm sure someone at HMV would be able to tell you. Any word on Ringo's upcoming country album? No, I thought that was supposed to be October. So I would have thought we would have heard of it now, but heard about it now. We haven't had an album release for about 3 days now. So there's plenty of time. Maybe that'll be for this Friday, and it will be triple bipple. There'll be 3 announcements, 3 Fridays running. Matthew says Twin Freaks has never officially been released on CD. No, it hasn't. Not readily available on vinyl either. No, it's not. I did get a copy about a year ago or so, and it's very, very expensive. Nick says, I can never decide between No More Lonely Nights, Once Upon a Long Ago for best 80s song. Yeah, both of them in the mix. Those two and My Brave Face would be my top 3 for sure. I'm not sure what order, though. David says, the Stones mono set was right. Bob says, hi, Tone. I searched for your band on YouTube, found a clip from Hornchurch playing Oliver's Army. Was that your band? Yeah, it might be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It could be. If it was Oliver's Army, that'd be me singing, because I sing that one. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know if that was on there, but if it is, it is. We don't really. We don't really, promote our YouTube channel like this one. Talking of that, if you are on the stream and you aren't subscribed, please support the channel by subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It all helps. Thank you very much. Rory says, "Did you get Oasis tickets?" No, I didn't. I didn't, but I've got all stuff here to do an Oasis video, or more like a Britpop video that I was gonna do last week, but other things happened with US Capitol. Beatles things overtook that. So I didn't even try. Oasis. I loved Oasis. This is my pile of Oasis singles that I bought. I went up to a point with Oasis, but they, for me, became a band of diminishing returns. As you know, I liked them less and less as time went on, and so no, I didn't bother with tickets. But what a fiasco! I saw some of my friends posted things with their screen position, and they're 200,000th in the queue, and they're saying that they're on for 5 hours, and that's just ridiculous. But if you're 200,000th in the queue, Wembley, Wembley only holds 80,000. I would have just logged off at that point, because you got no chance. Hi Ricardo, I hope you don't take this as an insult, but which Beatle would rock a bald look the most? Ringo. Only Ringo had it. Yeah, I think. I think Ringo had it. He looked right, and that was when he had his earring as well. When he first had his earring, when he was with Nancy Andrews, was she called? I think his girlfriend at the time, around 1976. John had. He was never really bald, was he? But he did used to have his hair around the sort of before the double fantasy, but around 1979, 98, his hair was long at the back, but he had it like pulled back, so it kind of looked like he was bald, and then he had a big long ponytail at the back. But yeah, I don't know which Beatle looks best with a bowling ball for a head. I don't know. Ricardo says, do you think Paul is coming at the end of this year? Don't know for sure. I really hope so. We kind of talked about this earlier on the stream. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But what I was saying is, because he's going out on tour, it has to be absolutely nailed down, very soon before he goes out, because if it's going to come out before in time for Christmas, it's got to be ready to go, hasn't it? John says, do you think Paul's voice is well rested for his upcoming tour of South America? Yeah, well, I think it is, but Paul's voice is Paul's voice, as what it is now. When he plays live, I think that he needs 5 or 6 songs to get his voice going. Unless he turns up with a Glastonbury-esque performance where he did Can't Buy Me Love as an opening song, and it was fantastic, and it had been terrible on the US tour that he'd done before. So maybe it's not always a rest that it needs. Maybe it needs, I think that when you looked at videos from the US tour that got back leg, you kind of saw that his voice improved as the tour went on. So the more he was, getting used to singing again, the better his voice was. But I always think that he needs 4 or 5 songs to get it going. So we'll see what it's like. I'm convinced Coldstone has abandoned strategy. Yeah, me too. Oasis, Blur, or Pulp. I think Oasis has the best songs overall, but I like Pulp from the style the most. Blur, my least favorite. I just don't like Damon Albarn's voice, really. Pulp would be number 2 out of those, and Oasis would be number 1. But mostly based on what they did between 1994 and 1996. One hell of a good show. You're doing great. Thanks, Charles. Thank you. Terry says, stupid question. 2, has Apple released compilations? I'm thinking of love songs, that mid-70s one with the odd album cover. You mean the Beatles ballads? I'm thinking you mean. And the one with the cut thumb across the cover, that's rock and roll music. So I don't think these are officially available on CD. They haven't been re-released. I don't think. I think Rock and Roll Music had a re-release in the early 80s when it went to the Music for Pleasure label, where it came out. It was on 2 LPs instead of a double album. It was Rock and Roll Part 1 and Part 2. But I don't think they've had a re-release. I played, or should I say, I tried to play my Love Songs album about a week or so ago, having not played it probably since the 70s, and it sounded terrible. It had so much surface noise on it. Sorry, no, I'm lying. It wasn't Love Songs. It was the Beatles ballad. It had Beatles ballads. It had so much surface noise. I had to take it off after about 2 tracks. It was so horrible. I obviously did not look after that record at all. Dave says, one of the best things about All Things Was Past was the hardback book and the recording sessions info booklet. That is the reason I jumped for Material World STE, as it has something similar. Yes. Yeah, I wanted the hardback book so much that I originally bought the CD box set and the splattered vinyl of All Things Must Pass, and I was so disappointed with the All Things Must Pass CD box set, not the contents, but calling it super deluxe box set with a flimsy book in it and all that sort of stuff. The musical content was fantastic, but just the presentation of that, it prompted me to start a YouTube channel because all the YouTubers were Beatles YouTubers were talking about it, and I thought, oh, actually, I'd quite like to have a go at this. So my very first video, which is awful, where I'm like a rabbit caught in the headlights, is about that box set. And about, I don't know, maybe a year or 2 years later, I hankered after the hardback book that I bought the ALP version. Dipped below £100 on Amazon, and I jumped on it, and mainly to get the hardback book. What am I, okay? John says, "Hey Tone, bring your band to Godalming in Surrey to play." Okay, that's not that far, I suppose. Russ says, "Love you, Tone. You poor West Ham supporter, thumped by Chelsea." Yeah, bugger off. Don't want to talk about football. Do you think they should include Bangladesh and Deep Blue in the set as it's on the Spotify version? People, as I thought at first, it's the same era. Well, I actually don't. Someone else mentioned about Deep Blue not being it. Deep Blue was an extra cut on the 2006 remastered Living in the Material World box that came out. But you know what? It doesn't really fit, does it? It doesn't really. I don't think it really fits because, Bangladesh and its B-side, Deep Blue, are from 1971. They're 2 years old by the time Living in the Material World comes out. So I think it's probably the right decision for them not to be on there, although I would have liked to have a remix of the track Bangladesh, which looks like that's one of those songs that's going to fall under the radar if they're just doing albums with nothing in between. Terry says, would love to see Paul's Glastonbury set from 2022 released in some form. So would I. It was just so fantastic that night. Thought there would be an issue, but who owns these recordings? I think the Beeb. I think the BBC. When the night of that gig, I did a review of the gig, and I'd made video clips to put in my video, which was just me standing in front of the telly and recording it on my phone. So nothing sophisticated, but it would have enhanced the video. And when I put the video together and started loading it up, it came up with a copyright strike from the BBC, and they said I couldn't use them. So I had to take all the bits out and re-edit the video because I'd said, he's doing whatever, Can't Buy Me Love. Have a look at this, pointing to where the video would be, and of course I couldn't include the video, so I had to take all the bits of video out and do record extra bits for the anyway. It's a long story, but yeah, it should come out. BBC own that, as they do all the Glastonbury footage from every year. So I don't know what the complications are about getting that out. David says, Beatley, do you know if there's a standalone release of Living on Blu-ray separately? No, there isn't. It's only available in the deluxe box set. There's a standalone LP, standalone CD, but not Blu-ray. Sorry, David, to be the bearer of bad news. Matthew says, sometimes buy from UK, Germany, Canada, or the US, and vinyl CDs are cheaper. UK postage is cheaper, for example. Beatles Capital release is far cheaper to buy from the US. Okay. Understood. Or maybe Calderstone is engaged in 8D chess. Not sure what that means. That's gone. Carnival of Light, January 67. Thanks for confirming, Russ. Listening to all this hype for the 64 box set is pushing me to pick it up. It's hard enough, though, because I already own the mono box set with all their mono. So what you got to remember, Julie, I'm not saying you should get it or you shouldn't get it, but just so you're aware, the mixes on this Capital set are different to what you've got on your UK mono box set. So you will hear something different. But if you are thinking of getting it, unless you want that Beatles story documentary, just get the 6 albums. They're $30 each. Whereas if you want the box set with the Beatles story, it's $300. So it's like $120 just for the slipcase and the Beatles story. If you just want the music, then just buy the six albums rather than the box set. But I know you love a box set. Phil says Free as Bird and Real Love were remixed for the Beatles One. Yeah, the One Plus DVD. They were. But I think people want them as audio. Where they put out 2 triple albums, Red and Blue, to accompany Now and Then at £75 each for the vinyl. It also wasted a lot of the remixes that could have been the centerpieces for albums, specifically SDEs. Well, yeah, they did, but we've kind of got a taster of what's to come. I quite liked, if it was give me a proper album or give me the Red and Blue, I'm picking give me a proper album as this year's release, every single time. But I did like the fact that we got a lot of remixes, particularly on the Red album, that gave us a bit of a flavor of what the remixed stereo early albums could sound like. I did like that. But if you're saying give me the Red album, or give me Hard Day's Night, then I'm picking Hard Day's Night every time. But also remember that there are a few standalone singles that were remixed on the Red album, like From Me to You, like I Feel Fine, I Want to Hold Your Hand, that are not on any album. So we got those. So there was a benefit. There was a benefit with the Red and the Blue remix, but it just it just took us all by surprise, and it's probably unnecessary. Hi, Kit's here. Hi, Tone. Looking great. Just got a notification that I'll receive the Mind Games book on Tuesday. Looking forward to seeing how it differs from the one in the box set. It is very different because it was in it was in the cube. But it's I mean, all those books have been great. All those books have been great, and I've really enjoyed those standalone, the Imagine, the Plastic Owner Band, and the Mind Games one, which I haven't fully investigated yet, but those books have been really good, highly recommended, and they do tend to come down in price if you leave it a bit. And talking about books, I don't know if you know, but I got a copy of your book sent to me by Andy and Tom, and I haven't read it yet, but I've read bits of it. And what I've read of it is excellent. So that's great. So thank you for that, and thank you to the Two Legs boys for sending it to me. It's really kind of them. So that's great. Good to see you here, Kit. Enjoy the book when it comes on Tuesday. Terry says, just give you a heads up to everyone that Uncut has just published its remixed edition of its Beatles Ultimate Music Guide. Okay. That's great. Is that presumably that's coming out soon, is it? Or it's just published it, you say? So it's out now. Matthew says most of the Beatles albums aren't true mono versions, but rolled down stereo. This is the US albums, yeah. MBT says Off the Ground is the one that she wants the most. Graham here. Are you buying the American Beatles box set? No, I'm not buying the box set, but I am buying the 6 albums. I'm not buying the box set. Are you in? I think you're not. Are you? I think you told me that you weren't interested in those. Anyone know what I don't know what that is. Stones, yeah. What are you talking about? My top 5, but I've got loads of Stones records. I do really like the Stones, but up to a point. I've only recently got. Oh no, I've got Tattoo You, and I did buy Hackney Diamonds and did a review of it on the channel. But for years and years and years, I went up to Some Girls, and that was it. I didn't go any further than that because I didn't really like most of them newer stuff, 80s, 90s, noughties stuff that they'd done. But someone said to me, you got to get Tattoo You, so I did. And it is a good album. It is a good album, and Hackney Diamonds is fabulous. But yeah, Stones are one of mine as well. One of my top bands. Did you get the All Things? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I did not. I got to say, I got the 8LP version, the CD, and the splattered vinyl of All Things Must Pass. Russ's top 5 after the Beatles: Stones, Who, Hendrix, Trower, and the Allman Brothers. Okay. Sean's here. Hi, Sean. Good evening, Tone. Just checking in. Good to see you back in the saddle. Nice to hear you, Mrs. Beatley, Tone. Regards, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Nice of you to come on. Terry's doing his top 5. Dylan, Beach Boys, Bowie, Heart, and the Bangles. Mrs. Beatley, Tone likes Heart. I'm in and out with the Beach Boys. I like a few of their albums, but I'm not even crazy about Pet Sounds. It's got some good songs on it, but as an album, it doesn't blow my socks off. I actually prefer Surf's Up as an album, but I don't have much Beach Boys in my collection. There is a way to listen to mono vinyl in true mono on. There is a way to listen to mono vinyl in true mono on modern stereo turntables. Yeah, only if you've got a mono cartridge, I think. But it's still coming out of 2 channels, or is it not? I don't know what happens if you've got a mono cartridge. I haven't got a mono cartridge because I don't live in 1964 anymore. Right, okay. What is the best non-Beatles related new album that anyone here has bought or listened to recently? Mine is Luck and Strange by Dave Gilmour. I think that Julia would probably agree with you on that. Best non-related new album that anyone has bought. I suppose for me, the best non-Beatles related new album but I'm not sure if this counts, but it was all new to me, was the Rock and Roll Star box set, David Bowie Rock and Roll Star, which is basically all outtakes from the Ziggy Stardust album. I don't know if that counts, but that's probably my favorite non-Beatles album that I bought recently. 2028 and 2020. Oh god, that's a long time, Matthew. It's a long time away. Hi, Jason. Morning, Tone. Good to see you. Looking so well. Still no sign of my Mind Games box. That's ridiculous. You discover I've now issued a refund, but no explanation why the original order placement never right. That's crazy. That's crazy. So you need to pick that up from somewhere else now, don't you? That's ridiculous. Thanks for dropping on. I expect you're probably maybe on your way to work. You're doing, I don't know what the time is where you are, but obviously it's morning. Right. Okay. Speak to you soon, Jason. Russ says my top 5 of the Beatles changed a bit 45 years ago. In 1979, it was Stones, Who, Led Zepp, Sex Pistols, Clash. Okay. Love all of those. David says, anyone know the outstanding Mind Games release might be? What the outstanding Mind Games release might be? I think Sean mentioned something else to come. Also, sometime in New York City. Again, I think Sean mentioned something. Well, I think the one to come is the meditation mixes. I think, which comes out on John's birthday, I think on October the 9th, or is it October I know his birthday is October the 9th. It might be October the 7th that comes out. I think that what the Mind Games release is going to be. I'm not sure about sometime in New York City, but the film Daytime Revolution, which comes from the sometime in New York City era, 1972, is coming out also on October the 9th, but only in America. So I'm not sure if that's what you're thinking about. The one-to-one is also in the pipeline. I haven't heard anything on the actual album sometime in New York City. I bet my post office savings account on the next Paul album being his It's a Wonderful Life concept. He said that he had plans of doing it. Yes, he did. Yeah. Okay. I saw the Beatles live in 1964, Kilburn State, London, NW6. I'm now 72. I'm frightened of missing later release when I'm not here. Okay. Yeah. Know how you feel, Graham. John said, tonight. Good night, Tone. Thanks for enjoyable live stream. See ya, John. Thanks for being on. The cinema in Vienna is sold out for one hand clapping. How did you go and see the one-to-one film? Because that was showing at the Vienna Film Festival. I think that has finished or it's about to finish. I don't know if you went, Ricardo. Let me know. Dave said, hopefully get to see one hand clapping on Thursday. As I say, everyone who's going to see one hand clapping, have a great time. Have a great time. Terry says, that would be fun if Broad Street was a support film screen before one hand clapping. Yeah, that would be. I'm gonna kind of, I'm sorry about this, but I'm going to kind of just read through these comments and pick them out as at random because we've been on for 2 hours at 18. It's sort of 20 past 11 here in the UK at night. I'm getting a bit knackered, and my throat is really dry as well. Elliot says, "Cosmically Conscious is great off the ground B-side. I saw Paul and Ringo perform that together at Radio City for a meditation benefit." Okay. The B-side, what the off-site, isn't that one that I thought that the B side, the cosmically conscious B side on Off the Ground is just the normal album version. I know there is a longer version that is on the complete works of Off the Ground, but I thought that it was just the album version. And if it is just the album version, I'm not that fussed with that, you know. Gary says, I heard they're releasing Capitol LPs, won't buy them. My record player is in storage. Fair enough. Jason says, oh, talking of which, just listen to the complete Off the Ground CD over the weekend. It would make a great archive set, but not before press to play. Yeah, I agree. Dave says, if eggs have been hanging around since 2019, don't eat them. That wise words. Gary says, I went to the US and bought 2 of Oasis CDs, Be Here Now, and their second LP. Yeah, their second LP, Watch the Story, Morning Glory, is a masterpiece, whereas Be Here Now is overblown tosh. In my opinion, there's a couple of good tracks, but those tracks are so long. They're so long. They needed some quality control in the room, I think. And it says, last time I saw Oasis with Radio City, Paul was sitting a few rows in front of me. They noticed him from the stage and performed a Beatles song. Did they? That's just showing off, isn't it? Mind you, I would do the same. If he was sitting there watching my band, I'd do the same. Just in, out and about, happy wife is happy life. I would like at least a minute for rebuttal. Looking well, mate, but don't overdo it. Okay, Andrew's here. Lovely to see you, Andrew. Thanks very much. Hope you are well too, my friend. And I take it you're back from your work trip to Scotland. I think you've done a video since then, haven't you? Hi, Andrew. Thanks for coming on. Matthew says Japan released a CD of B-sides and other songs Off the Ground. Yeah. That's the complete works, I think. Gary says he also has the Beatles ballads. Andrew says, just had to look at the Hornchurch gig. Definitely you singing Oliver's Army. Yeah. Eddie Miles is here. Hi, Eddie. I've seen Paul McCartney all over the UK plus Hamburg in 1989. He's playing close to where I live. I can actually walk to the venue, but can't get a ticket. Oh no! You're joking. Yeah, I know he's playing. I think it's 2 nights in Manchester in December. That is annoying. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go the tout route? Try and get one. That's so annoying. That is so annoying. Maybe you can just hang out of your bathroom window. You might be able to hear him if you're that close. Elliot says, I would love to see Rhino Atlantic re-release concert for Kampuchea on CD and red vinyl to go with the sleeve. I've got the album. I was actually at the gig. I was at the gig that Wings played. That I was there that night. It was the only night that I went. It was Wings, Elvis Costello, Rockpile, and Billy Connolly was the compare. John says, great show, Tone. Enjoy it. See you next time. See you, John. Thanks very much. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And it says, love to see Capital Albums. You really put out US EP entitled 4x4 for Record Store Day to promote the Capital Albums. Good idea. Kit says, oh, thank you, Tone. Very kind of you. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you, Kit. Terry says, it's hard to believe we're only just over a month away from the first anniversary release of Now and Then. Yeah, I know. It's mad. Graham says, Tone, doesn't it work out expensive buying the album separately rather than the box set? Well, you can't buy the Beatles story separately anyway. So if you buy the album separately, I think I worked out that it's £40 cheaper than the box set, but obviously you're not getting the slipcase and you're not getting the Beatles Story album, which I don't need because that's the one US album that I do. I have that album, and I have Hey Jude, and I have US Rarities, and that's it. So I just bought them separately. Right, Russ says, great show, Tone. Always a cool place to chat. Thanks very much, Mrs. Beatley. Brought me a cup of tea. Thank you. I'm not going to be much longer now. Let me just go through these. Matthew says his top 5 are Bowie, T-Rex, Blur, Queen, and Kate Bush. Yes, Queen. Also, again, I really like Queen. Again, up to a point, I kind of stop at the album Jazz from 1979. Don't go any further than that with Queen. But I do like Innuendo as well, actually. But I don't have all those albums in between that. So some minutes. Hang on, I've got to have a drink now. I'm coughing. I didn't know that they'd sold out of the Yoko map. Yeah, well, hopefully they will print some more. Graham's not going to one hand clapping the cinema. I'd rather buy in Blu-ray coming out in 5.1. Okay. Keir says good night. Good night, Keir. Thanks for coming on. Thank you so much for fun and entertaining live stream time. I've really enjoyed this, mate. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your input into this show. Hi, Jeff. Just came to the stream. We'll watch the replay. Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks for coming on. Tony says, I think it was shown on the Vienna Film Festival, which is just random films on a big place in Vienna in the summer. I googled it and it was shown. Okay. I'm not sure where I got that information. I thought it was from the Beatles, Daily Beatle or something like that. But thanks for that info, and good night, Ricardo. Okay, Charles is going to get his supper. Thank you for being on, Charles, and Elliot. Thank you for your contribution. Same goes for Charles. Dave, thank you as well for your contributions, and you, Julia. Stay safe. Well, let you know if I get yeah, do, and I'll speak to you soon. Tom is here. I was talking about you on and off during the stream. Looking good, Tom. Good to see you doing live streams. Thank you, Tom. I got cut off on your stream that I was on your midweek one, but I've caught up with it now. Matthew says good night. Thank you, everybody who has been on this stream. I can't remember how many we had. It's its peak, but it's been an absolute blast for me to talk to you. I love doing these, but I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to overdo it and lose the love for doing it, because it's better to sort of do it once a month for me. This one was quite an exhausting one. We've done 2 hours and 28 minutes so far. Please remember to give the video a like, because it does help the channel if you're not subscribed. But most of the names that I'm seeing here are all familiar names to me. But if you're not subscribed, please support the channel by subscribing, and just thank you, everyone, not only for being here, but for those of you that have contributed to the chat. Thank you so much. That's really great. So thanks very much for that, and I'll see you soon. Love and peace, everyone. Thank you.